Have you ever read a book from like 150 years ago that feels like it could have been written yesterday? Well, today, we're diving into one of those. We're using Charles Dickens' classic Hard Times to ask a pretty heavy question. What happens when a society starts to value cold, hard facts over everything else? Let's step into the smoky, gritty streets of a place called Coketown and see what Dickens has to say.
Wow. I mean, you can always feel the soot in your lungs just reading that. Can't you? This is Coketown, the fictional city at the heart of the novel. And Dickens makes it crystal clear. This isn't just a backdrop for the story. This bleak, polluted, monotonous place is the story. It's a character all on its own, a world literally being choked by its own industry.
And that's the key, right? Coketown is so much more than just some polluted town. For Dickens, it's this giant, powerful metaphor for a society that's built on the principles of a machine. It's a place where everything and everyone is ground down by this endless, joyless repetition, and the human spirit is getting just as polluted as the air.
So you have to ask, how does a place like this even happen? What's the operating system running in the background? Well, it's all built on a single, powerful ideology. It's a philosophy Dickens calls the gospel of facts, a worldview that basically worships numbers, logic, and measurable results, while treating things like imagination, feeling, and empathy as completely useless.
Now, the official name for this philosophy is utilitarianism. And, on paper, it sounds okay. The greatest good for the greatest number. But in Coketown, and in the hands of a man named Thomas Gradgrind, this idea gets twisted. It becomes this rigid obsession with profit, efficiency, and cold, hard facts. If you can't measure it or put a price on it, like love or joy or creativity, then it simply doesn't matter. It's worthless.
And this, right here, is the central battle of the entire book. On one side, you have Gradgrind's world of facts. It's all about logic, efficiency, and profit. It's sterile, it's cold, but it's measurable. And on the other side, you have the world of fancy, which is represented by a young circus performer named Sissy Jupe. Her world is all about imagination, emotion, and human connection. Dickens is basically putting these two ways of life in a ring to see which one creates a world worth living in.
So, what happens when you actually try to run a society on the gospel of facts? What's the real human cost? Well, Dickens shows us in heartbreaking detail that when you start treating people like they're just cogs in a giant machine, everything starts to fall apart, from their dignity to their closest family relationships. Just look at that single word, hands. That's what the factory workers in Coketown are called. Not workers, not employees, not even men and women, just hands. Think about how chillingly dehumanizing that is. Dickens chose that word very deliberately to show how the system literally strips people of their identity. You're not a person with a name, a family, or dreams anymore. You are just a part of the machine.
Yeah, being called hands means your personality, your struggles, your entire inner life, it's all irrelevant. You're just a tool. We see this perfectly with the character Stephen Blackpool. He's a decent, honest, hardworking man, but the system is so rigid, so unfeeling, that it has no room for his humanity. It offers him zero compassion, and in the end, it just breaks him.
And this philosophy doesn't just crush the working class, it poisons everything it touches, including family. Gradgrind raises his own daughter, Louisa, on nothing but facts, stamping out any trace of emotion. So what does she do? She makes a logical choice and marries a rich man she doesn't love for financial security. And the result? It's an absolute disaster. A complete and total emotional collapse. It's Dickens' way of screaming at us that a life built on logic alone is not a life at all.
Okay, so after all that doom and gloom, you might be thinking this story is completely hopeless. But Dickens doesn't leave us there. He actually offers us an antidote to the poison of Coketown. And the cure isn't some new system or a different set of facts. It's something deeply, fundamentally human. That antidote comes to us in the form of one character, Sissy Jupe. She's from the circus, the world of fancy, and she is everything Coketown is not. She's full of compassion, imagination, and what we'd now call emotional intelligence. She might not be able to give a textbook definition of a horse, but she understands people, and it's her empathy, her humanity, that finally starts to heal the emotional wasteland Gradgrind has created.
Now here's where this nearly 170-year-old novel gets really interesting. Dickens wasn't just writing a critique of the Industrial Revolution. He was sending a warning into the future. He's asking us right now to look around our own world and ask ourselves if we're making the same mistakes.
And that really is the question, isn't it? Where do we see this obsession with data and measurable outcomes winning out over the human experience? Do you see it in a corporate culture that values metrics more than morale? In social media algorithms that try to quantify our friendships? Or maybe in schools that value test scores over real curiosity? Dickens is forcing us to wonder if we're slowly, quietly, building our very own Coketowns.
Because that's what this all boils down to. Dickens isn't anti-progress, but he is issuing this timeless warning. If our drive for efficiency and logic isn't balanced with empathy and imagination, we don't end up with a better society. We just end up with a more efficient machine for grinding down the human spirit. A powerful idea to leave you with. Thanks for joining this explainer.